Hallelujah. In the name of Jesus, we begin our morning Bible study. Let us rise and sing hymn 89.
奉主是圣名开始今天早上的查经，我们一起唱赞美诗89首。
Greetings of peace and love to all the brothers and sisters.
这边问候大家弟兄姐妹平安。
We thank God for the opportunity to gather on His blessed Sabbath day to continue our study of the book of Jeremiah.
感谢神，我们今天又可以聚集在这边来学习神的话，然后我们要看耶利米书。
So we are continuing to study chapter 16.
我们今天要看的是耶利米书第16章。
Chapter 16 can be split into two parts.
那第16章可以分成两个部分。
From verse 1 to verse 13, we see from the subtitle talks about Jeremy's lifestyle and his message.
那如果第1节到13节看到他的这个副标题，他说耶利米的生活方式与信息。
And then from verse 14 to the end of the chapter, verse 21, talks about God will restore Israel.
然后14节到21节这里说神要来复兴以色列。
So if we look at the first section,
那我们先来看第1段。
we see from verse 1 to verse 2, the word of the Lord also came to me, saying, You shall not take a wife, nor shall you have sons or daughters in this place.
1、2节这里神的话又临到我说，你在这地方不可娶妻生儿养女。
We find that this may seem like a strange command of God to Jeremiah.
那表面上看起来很像是神对耶利米一种很奇怪的这种吩咐。
We know that being married and having children is inheritance from God. It's a blessing from God.
因为呢，其实我们可以看到这个，其实结婚呢，生儿养女是一个神的祝福。
But we see that God was to keep this blessing from Jeremiah.
可是呢，在这里神却把这个祝福不分给耶利米。
We see from verse 4 the reason why that he should not take a wife and not have any sons or daughters.
那我们看第4节就可以知道为什么不要在这个地方娶妻生儿养女。
And in fact, it was actually to all the people. In verse 3, we see that, Thus says the Lord concerning the sons and daughters who are born in this place, and concerning their mothers who bore them, and their fathers who begot them in this land.
那会看3节这边说，因为论到在这地方所生的儿女，又论到这国中生养他们的父母。
So we see that this message actually was not only to Jeremiah, but to the people during that time.
所以呢，这个讯息其实不单单只是给耶利米，更是在当时的百姓。
That during because the impending judgment and punishment from God, they should not get married and they should not have children.
因为神要将来的将要给的这个审判呢，所以叫他们不要来娶妻生儿养女。
We see that because this was God had already foreseen the impending destruction that was to come.
因为神已经看到即将来到的毁坏，所以呢，他才这样吩咐他们。
The impending suffering that the people will face.
他可以看到他们这些百姓将来会面对到的一些受苦。
And we see this is covered in verse 4.
可以看到第4节这边。
They shall die gruesome deaths, they shall not be lamented, nor shall they be buried. But they shall be like refuse on the face of the earth. They shall be consumed by the sword and by famine, and their corpses shall be meat for the birds of heaven and for the beasts of the earth.
4节，他们必死得甚苦，无人哀哭，必不得葬埋，必在地上像粪土，必被刀剑和饥荒灭绝。他们的尸首必给空中的飞鸟和地上的野兽做食物。
See verse 6, it continues that both the great and the small shall die in this land.
6节，连大带小都必在这地死亡，不得葬埋。
So see the reason for the command of God to Jeremiah and to the people to not get married and have children was because death would come to them.
那神的吩咐说不要在这个地方娶妻生儿养女，就是因为呢，他这个死亡会临到。
It was a case of the wrong time, the wrong place to actually continue to have a family, to have children.
因为这个是一个错误的时间，然后错误的地方呢，然后要来生儿养女。
Because we see they will die of gruesome deaths.
因为他们会死得甚苦。
They shall not be lamented.
啊，没有人哀哭。
No one will bury them.
啊，没有人会埋葬他们。
They will be like refuse. They will be like something that is worthless on the face of the earth.
然后会像那个没有用的粪土一样。
And if they have not, and they will be consumed by the sword and by famine.
那如果不是这样的继续呢，会被刀剑或还有饥荒来灭绝。
And we see that whatever is left of them physically will be corpses that will be meat for the birds of heaven and beasts of the earth.
那就算他们死了，他们的尸体呢，也会变成被天空的飞鸟、地上的走兽来被吞吃。
We know that life to us is very precious today.
那我们知道生命对我们今天呢也是非常的珍贵。
Yet we know it is very fragile.
那我们也知道是非常的脆弱。
It is in the hands of God.
因为它是掌握在神的手中。
Yet we know that when someone dies, we would treat that person with respect.
所以呢，当一个人去世呢，我们就会用很尊敬的方式来对待他。
But we see that the people at this time, their deaths would be anything but respectful.
啊，但是呢，在这个时候呢，这些人就算死了呢，他们的尸首也是不被尊重。
We see that the death would be something that will not be remembered by anyone.
啊，他们的死亡不会被任何人记住。
And in fact, it will not even be a footnote, nothing of note to record.
啊，也不会被任何人记载留存下来。
So it seems like these people, their life was it was meaningless to actually even live this life.
那这样子似乎看起来他们生命好像没有意义，没有存在的意义。
For the children to be born, their life would be meaningless because they would soon die.
那生下的儿女也没有生存的意义，因为他们很快就会死亡。
So we find that why was it that Jeremiah himself should not get married and have children?
那为什么呢？要这个耶利米呢？他不要来娶妻生儿养女。
We see that when before we are married, our lives are more free.
所以呢，当我们结婚之前，我们的生活是比较自由的。
We are definitely more selfish.
然后我们也是必定是比较自私的。
We only think about our lives and what our next day will behold.
因为我们只会来想说我们自己怎么样，然后呢，过去未来要怎么样来规划。
Of course, when we have a family, when we have a wife or a husband,
当我们有了家庭，有丈夫，有妻子之后，
the equation becomes more complex.
那这个想法呢，要规划呢就比较复杂了。
It's not just what one person wants to do, but two people.
不单只是一个人想怎么做，是说两个人想要来怎么做。
And then when you have children,
当你有小孩之后，
the equation has no solution.
那这个规划呢，又更整个是完全很麻烦了。
You may never find a perfect answer to resolve issues.
你可能规划的，然后呢，会找不到一个正确的方式，正确的那个方向来前进。
So we find that here for Jeremiah, this to have a family, to even if just to be married without children, would have brought this added burden.
所以呢，如果对耶利米来说呢，如果他来结婚，就算不生孩子，他也是会多一个负担。
This burden would be a future burden of losing your own family.
那这个负担呢，在未来会造成就是失去家人。
Now we find that for the parents among us to have a child is something you look forward to, obviously when you know you're expecting.
当然，身为家长，你如果要知道你要准备要生小孩，你要做家长的时候，你会非常的期待。
You prepare many things.
你会为他准备很多事情。
You know, buying so many clothes, even though you don't know if it's a boy or girl.
其实你不知道他是男生还是女生，你也会买一大堆的衣服。
People will buy lots of things for you.
很多朋友呢也会买很多礼物给你。
You think of names.
你会把他想名字。
You even think where they're going to sleep and where they're going to go to school even before they have been born.
其实在他们还没出生之前，就想他们要去哪里上学，他们要睡在哪边。
We find that actually our life and mindset focuses very much on the children.
所以呢，我们整个生活的想法呢，就注重在这个小孩身上。
But if we were told that our child would not actually live beyond 7 years old,
如果有人告诉你的小孩呢不会活超过7岁，
that at 7 your child will die,
就是你小孩7岁的时候他就会死，
you would think, you know, do you want to bring this child into this world?
那你还想要将这个孩子生出来吗？
We may have heard of stories where some people have complications during birth.
那我们会听过有人在生产的时候有一些问题。
So they know that if they give birth to the child, they know their life from then on would be very difficult.
他们知道他们小孩不健康，所以呢，将他生下来呢，你未来的生活就会很辛苦。
So what we find is actually for us today, just having healthy children is something we already treasure as a great blessing from God.
所以呢，如果小孩生出来已经是健康的，就已经是神给我们很大的一个祝福。
If God can bless them to live a life that is respectful and to believe in God, then we probably would feel that we can die happily.
如果呢他们能够长大，然后过着敬畏神的生活，我们觉得这个父母呢就已经可以觉得很欣慰了。
But we find that here the prophecy of God of the destruction would mean that children would not even have the chance to grow up.
这里的这个预言呢说到这个小孩呢是没有机会来长大的。
Parents will not be able to see their children become established to the hopes they have in them.
这个呢家长呢看不到这个小孩长成他们期望的样子。
So actually this is not a punishment from God to Jeremiah.
其实这个不是神对耶利米的惩罚。
This is actually a love upon love for Jeremiah.
其实这是神给这个耶利米无尽的爱。
Because this would avoid his future pain, loss and suffering.
因为这会让他呢避免未来的一些失去家人这种痛苦。
We find that in verse 5, the Lord says, "Do not enter the house of mourning, nor go to lament or bemoan them, for I have taken away my peace from this people," says the Lord, "loving kindness and mercies."
5节，神如此说：不要进入商家，不要去哀哭，也不要为他们悲伤，因我已将我的平安、慈爱、怜悯从这百姓夺去了。这是神说的。
So it says here, do not enter the house of mourning,
他说不要进入商家，
because there we cannot lament or bemoan them.
因为我们不能为他哀哭，为他们悲伤。
We know that when someone has passed away, the bereaved family obviously has suffered a great loss.
知道当一个人去世呢，他的遗属呢是受很大的苦。
And recently, in my family, we lost our uncle.
最近呢，我的叔叔呢也去世。
And we see that when you lose a loved one, it is a time when all the family come together.
当你失去这个所爱的人呢，就是你的家庭就会一起聚在一起的时候。
And it is the house of mourning.
就是整个家族来为他哀哭。
People come to lament and mourn for someone who they've spent maybe all their life or most of their life with.
他们呢为这个跟一辈子生活在一起的人来哀哭，来悲伤。
And what is interesting here is it says, "Do not enter the house of the mourning."
可是这里神说不要进入商家。
We know that actually during our memorial service, we actually says it is better to go to the house of mourning.
可是如果你记得呢，当我们参加这个丧礼的时候，我们会说呢，要来拜访商家。
We turn to the book of Ecclesiastes.
我们看传道书。
Ecclesiastes chapter 7.
传道书第7章。
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 2.
传道书第7章第2节。
Okay, read.
往遭伤的家去，强如往宴乐的家去，因为死是众人的结局，活人也必将这事放在心上。
So see here is to go to the house of mourning, isn't it? Verse 2. Better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will take it to heart. So we see here that we are actually encouraged to go to the house of mourning.
所以其实呢，我们是来鼓励呢，要来往遭伤的家去的。
Because we see that when a person has come to the end of their life,
因为当一个人来到这个生命的终点，
it is time to think and reflect.
就是来思想，然后来回复想过去生活的时候。
Think and reflect what is the future, if there is a future.
就是来思想我们的未来会是怎么样呢？
What is the life that we lead today?
那我们过的生活是怎么样的呢？
Our journey that we are on, where will it take us?
那我们现在的旅程会带我们到哪里去呢？
So we find that when last week, 2 weeks ago, when went to my uncle's funeral, the night before the funeral.
我记得2个礼拜前我去那个叔叔的丧礼，就是前一天之前。
The whole family was gathered at the house to think and reflect.
然后整个家族就聚在一起，然后来思想。
To think and reflect on how our uncle has touched our lives during his life on earth.
我们在思想说，这个叔叔呢，在这一生当中呢，他怎么样来感动，然后感动来帮助每一个人。
And then the next day, the memorial service, we listened to how a good example he had set.
到丧礼的时候呢，我们就来听到他所做的好事。
And then we see that everyone, if you look on the face, they are thinking and reflecting on their own life.
你在看每一个人的表情，他们也是在思想自己的生命。
They think about what is it that they are doing in their lives.
他们在思想说，我们在生命中想做的是什么？
Is it that their faith is the most important to them?
这个信仰在他们生命当中是最重要的吗？
Do they want to live out a similar life of being a good example to one another?
他们想要在过着别人的榜样的这种好的生活吗？
Even I know my brother who doesn't go to church, he actually sat there and thought about what is it that the life he is leading.
虽然我哥哥不来教会，但是他也看到他在那边思想说，那他的生活该是要怎么过呢？
And what we find is in such time of sorrow and sadness,
所以在这样悲伤还有痛苦的时候，
of great loss,
然后失去这个挚爱的时候，
we find that there is the mercy of God.
在当中呢，却有神的怜悯，
There is actually this peace that comes from God.
却有从神而来的这种平安。
So I usually find it's a very strange to explain what happens before and after a burial.
那所以呢，在当那个埋葬的之前跟之后，很难去描述说那个发生了什么事情。
Before we see that generally everyone is crying and you need a lot of tissues.
所以呢，在那之前，你看到其实很多人都很伤心，然后会一直哭。
We see that everyone is hugging and consoling each other to not be so sad.
然后呢，就是一起拥抱呢，要彼此安慰，不要太过伤心。
But after the burial, we see that actually there does seem to be a peace that comes on to all those who believe the promise of God.
但是呢，当埋葬之后呢，就看到神的平安来到那些相信神应许的人。
The promise of God that the person who's died is in a better place.
神所应许就是呢，这些已经去世的人，他已经到了更好的地方。
God has prepared a paradise for him.
神已经为他预备来这个预备了天国。
And that we have hope ourselves that we too can join them and see them one day.
那我们自己也有同样的盼望，将来有一天能够来跟他们再见面。
But what we see in verse 5 is we are told not to do any of this.
可是，在第5节告诉我们，这些事情都不要做。
That we do not even enter such an opportunity to think and reflect.
我们甚至不要来到这个商家的地方来参与这种有可能够思考人生的机会。
The reason is because this peace, this loving kindness, and this mercy from God has been taken away.
原因是因为这个神的平安、慈爱、怜悯已经被夺去了。
And we find that actually, if we were to go to a memorial service today,
如果我们今天要去丧礼，
and to not have any peace after this memorial service,
但是在参加完后却没有得到任何的平安，
we find that of course we will never actually be able to accept this loss.
那我们就完全没办法来接受这个他们已经走的事实。
This hurt will stay with us forever.
这样子的悲痛会永远存在我们心里。
So we find that actually what we have received from God, that because we have believed in God, is truly a great mercy and love.
所以我们因为信神，所以从神而得到的，真的是一个很大的怜悯，很大的恩典。
So we find that in verse 6 that we see that when these people have died, they shall not be buried, neither shall men lament for them, cut themselves, nor make themselves bald for them.
6节是说，连大带小都必在这地死亡，不得葬埋，人必不为他们哀哭，不用刀划身，也不使头光秃。
This act of cutting themselves or making themselves bald is really an act of showing this extreme grief for the people they've lost.
所以说不用刀划身，不使头光秃，是表明一种非常悲痛的一种动作。
But we see that they do not need to do any of this.
他说这些事也都不要做。
In verse 7 we see that nor shall men break bread in mourning for them, to comfort them for the dead.
7节说，他们有丧事，人必不为他们剥饼，因使人安慰他们。
Nor shall men give them the cup of consolation to drink for their father or their mother.
为丧父丧母也不要给他们一杯酒安慰他们。
We know in the Jewish custom they had morning feasts.
这个犹太人的习俗呢，他们早上会有一个
morning.
有一个那个哀哭的仪式。
And at this morning feast they would break bread and eat together.
他们就会来剥饼，然后一起同吃。
And we see that at the same morning feast there would be this cup of consolation given to the mother and the father.
然后这仪式呢，会把一杯酒给他们这个丧父丧母的那个给他们喝。
And we see that this tradition, of course, has its meaning.
有这样子的习俗是有一种他们的意义存在。
To be able to partake food together to eat is something that can be comforting.
一起来同享食物呢，是一种安慰。
And to give a cup of consolation is an act of showing care and concern to the father and the mother.
给这个安慰的酒呢，是要来表明他们的对父母的这种安慰跟一种怜悯。
But we find that we should not even go into this house of feasting to sit with them.
可是呢，他说不要进入这些人的家中，跟他们一起吃喝。
Again, because any of this mourning is actually meaningless.
因为这样子的事情呢，都是没有意义的。
There would be so much mourning, there would be so much loved ones lost that there will not be a need for this.
因为会有很多的这种事情发生，很多的哀哭，很多的悲痛。
So we see from verse 9 that thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will cause to cease from this place before your eyes and your days the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride.
9节，因为万军之神以色列的神如此说：你们还活着的日子，在你们眼前，我必使欢喜和快乐的声音，新郎和新妇的声音，从这地方止息了。
We see this relates back to the beginning of our study of the chapter.
那这里也回到我们刚刚那个16章的前面。
That they should not be married.
他们不应该要结婚。
If we turn to Jeremiah chapter 7,
我们看耶利米书第7章
verse 34,
34节。
we see that we studied quite a number of weeks ago a similar theme of chapter 7, verse 34.
那7章34节这边也提到相同的事情。
Then I will cause to cease from the cities of Judah and from the streets of Jerusalem the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, for the land shall be desolate.
34节，那时我必使犹大城邑中和耶路撒冷街上欢喜和快乐的声音，新郎和新妇的声音都止息了，因为它必成为荒场。
We see this voice of mirth can also mean the voice of rejoicing.
那这个欢喜的声音
it's clear in Chinese, isn't it? So, and the voice of gladness.
还有快乐的声音。
We see the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride. What is this voice?
它这个新郎新妇的声音是什么声音？
Actually, linked to just over a month ago, my uncle, the same uncle that passed away, actually his eldest child actually got married.
那这个我刚说那个刚刚1个月前去世的这个叔叔呢，他的
2 months ago,
2个月，他去世2个月前呢，他的大
儿子
刚结婚。
And we see that obviously at the wedding, we see actually everyone looks out for the bride and bridegroom.
所以呢，在婚礼大家都来看这个新郎新妇。
Because they are so handsome and so pretty on that day.
那他们那天很帅又很美。
And what we find that is everyone wants to hear them say something.
我们大家都想听他们说什么，说几句话。
And we find that, of course, the bride and bridegroom always says, I think, overinflated words.
那他们常常会说一些令人感动的话。
So they will always say thanks.
然后讲感谢的话。
They probably forget how many times they say they're so happy and thankful.
那可能会很多次说非常开心，然后非常感谢，一直重复这样说。
And we see that the loved ones, the relatives, friends, they are just so happy to see and hear a bride and bridegroom.
那他们的所爱的人、家人呢，就是很开心来听这些新郎新妇他们说话。
One of the traditions of Chinese people is, or maybe just Abjiao people, is to do the cup ceremony.
那这可能是亚洲或是中国人会有那个奉茶的仪式。
And we find that during this time it is very loud.
那这个时候呢，就是很大声的。
So many people talk.
那很多人都在讲话。
And there is so much joy and so much laughter.
然后很多欢笑，很多欢乐。
And we sometimes even laugh at the aunties because their smile is so wide you can see their teeth.
然后或者我们有时候看到那些阿姨们笑得很夸张，我们也会很开心。
And actually we want to hear from the bride and bridegroom.
那同样的，我们还会想听到这些新郎新妇他们说话。
Even if they can say a few words to make the older generation happy to be able to hand over some gold or some money.
其实只要讲一些很简单的话给这些长辈呢，他们就很开心的就会把金子然后项链给他们。
So we find that actually during a marriage ceremony like this, it is a time of great hope.
那像这样子的仪式呢，就是一种盼望的一种希望的样子。
Not only Thanksgiving that two people have grown up and come together.
那不单只是来感谢大家来参加，然后呢来一起聚集。
But now there is hope. There is a hope for another future family.
它就是有一个希望，就是一个新的家庭成型了。
To be able to see people to mature, to be able to start their own family is one of great thanksgiving and love.
能够看到他们长大，然后能够来跟另外一个一半来结合，是一个很大的和喜乐。
But when we hear no more this voice of the bride and the bridegroom.
可是呢，我们这边看到说不要再听到这些东西。
This means that actually there is this loss of the future. There is no hope, it seems.
那就是这个希望呢，全部都毁灭，都没了。
That actually this next generation holds no future.
那这个新的一代呢，没有什么任何的盼望。
We see from verse 10 to verse 13 is something that seems to shock us with the response of the people.
那这里10到13节可以看到很震惊的是，我们看到这些百姓的反应。
That when this message of impending destruction, suffering comes to the people.
当这个话呢，这些灾难呢，指示给这些百姓之后，
they say, "Why has the Lord pronounced all this great disaster against us?"
他们反问说，为什么要将这个大灾祸攻击我们呢？
Or what is our iniquity?
那我们有什么罪孽呢？
What is our sin that we have committed against the Lord our God?
那我们向神犯了什么罪呢？
We find that if this is something we ask ourselves today,
如果这些是我们今天的反应，
if we ask ourselves truly in a prayer to God,
那如果我们在祷告中向神来这样子问，
maybe in the lead up to a Holy Communion,
那或者是在圣餐礼的时候，你这样子来反问，
when we examine ourselves,
就是在我们在思考我们生活的时候，
when we search ourselves deeply, do we find that there is this unanswered question?
那当我们在查看我们的内心的时候，是不是有这样子的问题出来呢？
When we search inside ourselves, do we find that there is nothing wrong with us?
那我们在查验自己的内心的时候，是不是觉得自己没有什么错呢？
Are we able to say this? Or, what is this iniquity that God you see in us?
你是不是会问说，为什么神要将这个大灾祸降给我们呢？
We find that actually our hearts today are very hardened.
我们的心今天是非常的刚硬。
The things of this world make our hearts very hardened.
今天这个世界上的东西呢，让我们的心变得刚硬。
What was right or wrong when we were younger seems to be grey. It seems to be neither when we grow up.
当我们在小时候认为正确的事情、对的事情，长大之后好像都不是这样子了。
Even the truth in the church, we find that today we start to doubt whether this is the truth.
甚至教会里面的真理，我们大了之后也开始怀疑说，是不是这样呢？
So we find that because we ourselves have changed, but we know that God has not changed.
我们改变了，但是我们知道神永远不会改变。
So this measure this measure line that God has set has never changed.
那这样子，神给我们这个标准是永远不会改变的。
So actually, when we measure ourselves to this requirement of God, is it that we are still falling short?
所以呢，当我们用这样子的标准来看自己，我们是否还是能够达到这样子的标准呢？
We find that from verse 11, actually, the people were not even close to this to falling short of the glory of God and the requirement of God.
我们在11节可以看到，他们这些百姓根本就没有到达神的这个标准。
Because it says, "Because your fathers have forsaken me," says the Lord, "they have walked after other gods and have served them and worshipped them, and have forsaken me and not kept my law."
11节，你就对他们说，神说，因为你们列祖离弃我，随从别神，侍奉敬拜，不遵守我的律法。
We see, and obviously have understood over the past many weeks, and even the study of Isaiah, that this great sin of the people was worshipping other idols.
那我们在这几个礼拜查考这个耶利米书就可以知道呢，他们这些百姓犯的罪就是来敬拜其他的神，
Walking after and worshipping other idols.
遵从来敬拜这些外邦神。
And so, of course, in their heart, they are not able to have to serve two gods.
所以他们的心不能来侍奉两个主。
Their heart is filled with idolatry.
他们心中充满了这个拜偶像。
They have they are not able to put God in their heart.
他们没有办法将神放在他们的心里。
But we see from verse 12 that the generations now have done worse than the fathers.
那12节看到他们这一代的人比他们列祖更坏，
Each one follows the dictates of his own evil heart,
因为个人随从自己顽梗的恶心行事，
so that no one listens to me.
所以没有人听从我。
We sometimes think that maybe the children today are even harder to teach.
那有时候我们觉得这一代的小孩比以前还更难教。
Sometimes we may ask ourselves, when we were kids, we were easy to teach, weren't we?
那我们就想说，我们小时候的时候这么乖巧，很好教的。
We never asked for this, never asked for that.
我们都没有要求这个要求那个。
When it came to dinner time, there was no discussion or negotiation about what to eat.
那吃晚餐的时候不会在那边挑三拣四。
You either eat or there is no food.
你就吃，不吃就没东西吃。
But today we find that it seems it is more difficult to bring up children.
可是今天好像要带小孩长大更困难了。
And even for ourselves, it seems more difficult for us to live our life than our parents or our grandparents.
那看起来今天的我们自己的这个生活环境也是比过去那一代的人更辛苦。
And we find that actually today that when the next generation comes up, this heart can very much be taken away by the world.
那可能下一代出来，我们可能他们的心都会被这个世界带走。
We may feel that sending our children to school can only be a good thing.
那我们都觉得将小孩送去学校是好事。
But we see that actually they can come home with their hearts filled with actual evil.
那可是有时候你看到他们从学校回来带回来的是一些很不好的行为。
The things that they listen to,
是他们所听的东西。
the things they learn how to speak.
他们所学会所说的不好的话。
We find that even for ourselves, going to work can actually corrupt our heart.
那我们去工作也可能因为这样子，然后败坏我们的心。
So we find that actually sometimes when we examine really our faith, it can be less pure than that of our older generations.
那如果我们认真的来检视自己的信仰，我们可能真的没有像过去那一代那么样的单纯。
We find that when we speak to the older uncles or aunties or the grannies and the granddads in the church,
那你可能跟教会的长辈那些阿公阿嬷聊天的时候，
we find that when we talk about all our ills and pains,
那我们就要谈我们的身体的病痛。
we talk about how many hospitals or GPs we've been to.
那我们就说我们去了多少诊所，看了多少医生。
When you speak to them about their problems,
那当你跟他谈到他们过去生病的时候，
we find that even to today they only hold a very simple principle.
那他们的原则就很简单。
That if they have any problems,
如果有身体有什么病痛，
they just kneel down and pray.
他们就是跪下来祷告。
They just trust in God.
就是信靠神。
And if it's still painful,
那如果还是不舒服，
they just accept that this is God's little test for them.
那他们就接受这个是神给他们的试验。
But we find that our heart today has already been very complicated.
可是我们现在的心已经变得非常的复杂。
We really dictate our own heart of where we want to go.
我们真的是随从自己的心，然后随意行事。
We really feel that we know best, and maybe we want just God to bless what we want to do.
我就觉得我什么都知道，然后我要怎么样，神就应该要来祝福我。
Or surely God will listen to maybe what's best for me.
或者是呢，神应该会听我这个比较好的这个建议。
We see that we are not always so accepting of whatever comes from God.
那我们有时候不能来接受呢神所给我们的一些苦难或是问题。
So we find that the people during this time, their sin was, it seemed like they was able to outdo their older generations.
所以他们这个时代的人呢，他们比他们的列祖还要更糟。
They were able to do worse than what was previously considered as evil.
他们列祖做的已经不好，他们做的还要更甚。
And we see that actually it is almost something that you cannot fathom that you can be even worse than what was already very bad.
那你不觉得可以更糟，但是其实呢，他们越来越这个心呢越来越恶。
So when we come to the second part from verse 14 to verse 21,
所以当我们来看这个第二段14节到21节，
We see that verse 14 to 16, it talks about how the people will be punished and exiled.
那这里14节到16节可以看到呢，这是以色列百姓被惩罚，然后被逐出。
We see from verse 16 that it describes that that God will send for many fishermen.
16节神说要招很多打鱼的，
and they shall fish them.
然后把以色列人打上来，
And afterwards I will send for many hunters.
然后要招许多打猎的，
And they shall hunt them from every mountain and every hill,
然后从各山各冈各石穴中来猎取他们，
out of the holes of the rocks.
然后到处来猎取。
According to historical records, some scholars believe that the fishers and the hunters can relate to the nations who come to invade and destroy Israel.
所以呢，根据这历史学家，一些学者认为呢，这些许多打鱼的呢，这个猎取呢，可以是说那些周围的那个邻邦呢，要来攻击这些以色列人。
We find that the Chaldeans were very famous in hunting.
那这个加勒底人呢，对这个很会打猎。
The Egyptians were very famous in fishing.
那这个埃及人很会打鱼。
And so we see that actually their act of coming to invade and destroy was likened to fishing and hunting.
所以呢，这些邻邦来打鱼、来打猎呢，就是来侵略以色列人。
Of course, for a good fisherman or a good hunter, you would always succeed in catching something.
所以呢，这个好的打鱼的好的猎人呢，会能够打到他的猎物。
And we see that there is nowhere to hide.
然后呢，他们无法躲藏。
We see for even the great anglers, if there's a big fish, they will be able to catch it.
那如果是有大鱼呢，他也抓得到。
And for the hunter, they can wait, but they will still be able to hunt and catch.
啊，打猎的他能够等候呢，但最后也是可以来猎取到猎物。
We see what is interesting is that in the New Testament, this act of being a fisherman is changed by God.
那到了新约，我们说到这个打鱼的呢，这个意义改变了。
We see that actually this act of fishing now becomes an act of saving souls.
那这样子打鱼的动作呢，变成是要来拯救灵魂。
So sometimes we may think that when we go out to preach, let's just see what we can catch.
所以呢，有时候我们说我们到外面传福音，就说啊，我们就出去外面看可以抓到什么。
It may be that we might not catch anything today, so we'll just come home.
那可能我们今天抓不到鱼，那我们就回家。
But we find that actually, if anyone is interested in or hobby is fishing, you would be very patient when it comes to fishing.
所以当一个很喜欢这个钓鱼的人呢，他在钓鱼的事上会很耐心的在等候。
Actually, if it's windy or raining or whatever weather, you will sit there waiting patiently to fish.
不论那个气候如何，刮风下雨，他就会在那边等候。
You will be so fulfilled and so happy when you're able to catch something that you've waited for.
当你等候多时，然后最终抓到鱼的时候呢，你的心里会非常的饱足。
And because this is saving lives, this should be the same mentality we should have when preaching.
那因为这个是我们在拯救灵魂，所以我们的心态上面也是应该要一样的。
We see that when you feel you're losing the fish.
有时候你觉得你这个钓鱼这个鱼要跑走了。
Sometimes you might get other people to help.
有时候你没有人可以帮你。
You may try your hardest to try and complete this catch.
你可能会尽力的想要把这个鱼抓起来。
And sometimes you find that this is maybe the work of evangelism.
这个有时候就是这种传福音的工作。
It may not just be one person, all our efforts to bring someone to the church.
不是只是一个人，然后呢很努力的把一个人带进了教会。
There can be many other players, characters to help us to bring someone to believe in God.
可能有不同的角色、不同的角度呢，可以来带领人来到教会。
So we see from verse 18 that we see the sin that God has repaid them will be double.
可以看到第18节，因为神要报应他们的罪呢，要加倍。
Another way of reading this, I think in other versions, is that they will be punished, and they will be punished again the same.
那另外一种说法就是呢，他们会得到报应，然后呢，报应之后呢，还会再一次的报应。
And this is because they have defiled the land.
因为他们来玷污了这个土地。
And the inheritance has been filled with the carcasses of their detestable and abominable idols.
然后神的产业被可厌之物充满了。
But we see from verse 19 to verse 21 that there's a very gracious message from God.
19到20节我们却可以看到从神而来很大的一个信息。
We see, of course, the common theme or the common format is, although there is impending destruction, there will also be one day God will bring comfort and redeem His people.
所以看到这个样子呢，就是呢，虽然前面呢他们会败坏呢，但是最后呢，神会来拯救他们。
We see that in the day of affliction, the only strength that we can draw is from God.
所以可以看到19节，在苦难之日，唯一的保障呢，避难所就是神。
The only strength you can draw from God to face this affliction.
只有这个从神而来的力量呢，可以帮助我们度过这个苦难。
Now, what we see is interesting is from verse 20 to 21.
那很有趣，这是20到21节。
Will a man make gods for himself, which are not gods?
人岂可为自己制造神呢？其实这不是神。
Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know.
神说我要使他们知道。
Cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is the Lord.
就是这一次使他们知道我的手和我的能力，他们就知道我的名是神了。
We find that today that we of course have come to know God.
当然今天我们都认识神。
That our way of coming to know God has been maybe filled with blessing and love and mercy.
那认识神的过程可能是有很多祝福，然后很多怜悯在其中。
But we know that of course there are many people still to know of God.
当然还有很多人要来认识神。
We find that to the Gentiles, those who have not yet believed.
对于那些外邦人还没认识神的人
we see that God can actually cause them to know, to come to know Him.
其实呢，神可以有他的能力呢，让他们来认识他。
And we see that actually today this can be in the form of suffering.
那其实呢，今天呢看来，有时候是用苦难的方式来呈现。
Just as we know that God can use suffering to show His almighty power.
就是呢，神可以用苦难的方式呢来展现他的大能。
So we find that today actually when we think about it, we are truly blessed.
所以今天来思考，我们今天真的很蒙福。
We have not had to endure a path of suffering to come to know God.
那我们不需要度过这些苦难来认识神。
We do not have to face the impending affliction and punishment before we come to know God.
那我们不需要在认识神之前呢，然后度过一些苦难、一些灾祸。
We know that already who this God is, this Almighty God, and what is His name.
那我们已经认识这位大能的神是谁，他的名字是什么。
So this is Jeremiah chapter 16.
所以这就是耶利米书第16章。
And I believe it's sort of something that we can ponder over in our life.
那我相信这边有很多东西我们可以在生命当中来思考的。
We know that this message is not just to the people of that time.
那这个信息不是单指呢给当时的百姓。
This is still a message relevant to all of us today.
这还是给我们今天可以思考的讯息。
That we can heed the warning.
我们能够来听到这个警告。
The warning that this world will corrupt us.
就是呢，这个世界有一天要毁灭。
So it is all the more important to guard our hearts, to guard the hearts of our family members.
所以更重要的是保守我们的心，保守我们家人的心。
And if we read the last verse, verse 19.
那如果我们看这个19节。
O Lord, my strength and my fortress, my refuge in the day of affliction.
神啊，你是我的力量，是我的保障，在苦难之日是我的避难所。
Let us all kneel down and pray.
那我们一起跪下祷告。
Then it's lunchtime.
午餐时间。
Just quick introduction. We welcome Zhu Ping from Manchester.
那简单介绍主评，
Sister Zhu Ping. And Sister Esther from Taiwan.
还有罗启君姐妹。
Okay, thank God.
感谢神。